Hello everybody, this is Abraham with North Shore Computer Services, and today we're doing a fun electrical project. This should be called electronics, but this is electrical. Issue ended up being electrical. Namely, this is Lexus GX460, but this problem will be the same on LS460, GS, whatever, any Lexus or Toyota vehicle that has a heated steering wheel. Okay. If you have this button, you might have this problem. This car has quite a few miles on it, over 200,000, and when you have that many miles, weird things start happening. For the most part, I'd say car is okay, but this is something minor, but it's annoying, especially if you live in the northern climates where you do like that warm steering wheel. And it would be nice if Toyota had heated the whole steering wheel, not just the leather parts. So in any case, what happened here is that the button was working normally, and about 2 weeks ago, about a month ago, it started working intermittently. It was working, then it was not working, then it was working, then it was not working. And then it stopped working completely. Started researching this problem. First, I went to the owner's manual. Nothing about it. It says, if this doesn't work, if the light blinks, take it to the dealer. That's all. Not even a mention of the fact that there is a fuse for this problem. Nothing. Searching online, I have found the information about this, and again, the information about cars is being cleaned off the internet, so you cannot do your own repairs. Thankfully, some of the information is available if you're persistent enough. So, this is what I have found, and look at my screensaver. All right, this is what I have found. This is the schematics of the heater, steering wheel heater. It doesn't say anywhere in there, but I'll try to reference the schematic somehow. If you're really interested, leave me a comment that you need this. If I forget, I'll try to attach the schematic somehow or reference to it. In any case, we have several components here. There are actually 2 fuses and a relay right here, and a controller, the button, and this weird thing here. But in reality, this weird is just a wire going to the ground. I have spent quite a lot of time, few hours, trying to understand and trace every wire where it goes. There's actually 3 fuses. So there are 2 fuses here, and there's a heater steering wheel fuse, 10 amp, located in engine room, right side, left side of the engine compartment. Engine room RB, I don't know what that means. Assembly, left side of engine compartment. That's what it says there. Then we have the relay, right side of the engine compartment. Then we have the relay energizer. So this fuse actually sends the energy to the relay. And it took me a little bit to understand how the hell the system works. And the system gets activated when you turn on the car. So when you turn on the car, this relay gets flipped. By the way, it doesn't mention here, but this thing controls some other components. I believe crankshaft position sensor, because when I pulled out this relay and I turned on the car, it worked, but it threw an engine code, and that's what it was. So do not turn on the car with the relay out. If you are in the testing stage, and you're testing the relay, just don't turn the car over. So this one here is a button that you use to turn on the system. There is a LED inside of the button, and the main thing is this controller here, and it says here steering wheel heater controller assembly left side of dash. What? I've looked everywhere. I took this whole thing apart. It was not there. However, I did the search online for this part, and it was too small to be under there. So I was suspecting that it was inside of the steering wheel. I'll show you everything. So let's look at the engine compartment. This is the side they're talking about. This relay here is the heater relay. And again, this thing controls other things. And on the description, it just says ST. All right. The steering heater is this fuse right here. Okay, so there are 4 fuses, second or a third from the bottom, second from this hole, and it is, if it can be seen, here it is, steering heater. Okay, of course all these things were okay, obviously, because when something breaks, it's not because of the fuse. If it's a fuse, that means something else is causing the problem. So actually, believe it or not, a blown fuse is worse than something else. In any case, all right, let's get to the juicy part. On the sides of the steering wheel, so you got holes, there are these little plugs. And you just use a pry tool and get them out. Inside of the plugs, you will have a hex star screw. And the size on it is, it just says 30. Okay. This one says S2T, whatever that means. So find a set, get it in there, just like that. Okay. And unscrew. Not much. That's easy. And it's on both sides. On this side, the cover actually goes through this cruise control. All right. Then, once you have those out, the airbag just lifts just like that. You don't need to disconnect anything. Just put it out of the way like this. Okay, and now we have all this juicy stuff, all these wires in here, all this fun stuff, and the unit you're looking for is right here. Tiny little controller. It's held down by 2 screws, and you just use a Phillips. Take those out. Oops, regular Phillips. And there's 2 sides to this controller. This side right here comes from depth of the steering wheel, and this is supplying power. And this side is the actual heating units. Let's pull it out. So I have everything pre-disassembled. Okay, let's just pull the unit out, and you pull it out just like that. Now let's take it apart, and you will see first thing you think that this thing is bad, and I've ordered this one. Came from 09 LS460, same exact thing as GS GX, whatever. This is a GX. And this is my unit. As you can see, it is modified. And there is quite a bit of electronics. And this is only one side. There is another side, but can't pull it out because it doesn't matter. So don't need to pull it out. As you can see, there is a wire sticking out of it. And as I was doing research, I wanted to show you how to pull the button out. So this button, it was actually located over here, and it's a really bad spot for it because it's always blocked by the line of sight. You have to kind of look for it because here in the north, we use it a lot and you can't see it properly. So I moved it to the farthest, and I'll show you, it's real easy. To pull the button out, you can use a pry tool to pry the button out, but there is a chance you can break it. There is an easier way to do it. You just grab this panel here and it's my testers, and just pull it down, and then you push on a button from the inside. Okay, you want to push 2 buttons out, then we can replace this back, and they're just sitting on the same harness, so pushing 2 of these out is easier. To get the button moved, you're gonna have to pull this one out and that, and then change the wiring harness to move this one to the last position, so if you're interested. This button here is the steering wheel controller. Let's see, gotta use this arm here. All right, it's got quite a few connections on there, 5 namely. So if we look on our diagram, we have 3 right here and 2 more. That's for when you turn on the light, it illuminates the button itself. So 2 plus 3 is 5. To test everything on that button, you want to remove, so there is a little white protector there. I'm going to be putting it back. And when you remove the little white protector, you can just use nails or a little pry tool. You'll see the wire is exposed. And you can use the continuity tester to see which wire goes over here. And I can tell you right away, as you're looking at this connector here, on my car, see, all the wire colors on that diagram are different because that diagram is for a different year. They like to do that. They change the wire color. So the white one for me is the plus. The green was green. The green actually goes over here, but they decided to put 2 greens on there. So I think it's light green. That's the button activator for the controller. So what does this controller do? Okay, so the controller takes plus 12 volt, minus 12 volt, the button to activate the controller, so another plus 12, and another lead to send the signal back to the light in a button that the system has been activated. Those are the 4 plugs or connectors here. So we have plus, minus, plus, minus, plus from the button, controlled plus to activate the unit, and plus for the light, or no, I believe it's the minus that gets to the light because button operates on a plus. So the minus gets sent back to the LED to operate the light and illuminate that the system has been activated. Now there is another 4 connectors, 2 of them to send the heat energy to the heating units, and 2, so those on this here, those are black and red. So that would be plus and minus to send to the heaters. On this side, we have 2 green, and those are the thermostats. So not to overheat the system, it checks for the temperature and sends the temperature back to the controller saying that it's too hot, too cold, so it's regulating the temperature. So this thing is on-off and thermostat. And usually electronics, especially in Toyotas, are fairly good. So I had low hopes that this thing was bad. Then why did I order another one? Number one, I got it cheap. So this replacement unit, wherever it is, cost me $8. So if you look hard enough, you can find one cheap. So I thought if I'm going to be doing more testing, and I have in my experience, there's a chance I could burn this out. Okay, connect something somewhere where it shouldn't be, you lose one. So having a second controller, that was the reason why I wanted it. So having a second controller, I started to be a little more aggressive at testing why things don't work. So number one, I put the controller in. Sure enough, the thing did not work. But what got me thinking is from the very first time I saw this thing, this squiggly wiggly thing, I thought that must be the suspected cause of the problem. And what it is inside under here is a coil that has a lot of connectors on it. All these wires are going through that coil. That coil is about this thick and it's doubled up, so it's got about 12, a lot of connectors, a lot of connecting wires connecting the steering wheel to the car, and it allows for the movement. So there's actual wire coil that goes inside there, and I've taken one apart. They're super complex, and the connections between the coil and this thing are, in my opinion, badly done, because it's just a crimped metal on a plasticky, runny metal inside of the coil. So not to my liking. So what I did find was that the signal from the button did arrive here, that the plus arrived here. I was absolutely sure that there wasn't any issues with the heaters, because if the heaters would be bad, two things: moisture, or you actually ripped it and short-circuited it. Now, as you can see, it's in perfect shape. So chances are the heaters didn't go bad. And I was betting on that. Because if heaters go bad, you replace the steering wheel. By the way, replacing a steering wheel will not fix the problem of why it's not turning on. And the key is that it was intermittent before it went out. Okay? Why do I have this wire here? It should be black, but it's the only color I had that was thick enough. What I didn't find in here was the ground, the minus. This metal piece is actually minus on the ground. And that, if you put one lead here, one on the plus, you get 12 volt. If you put a lead here and on the green and push the button, you get another 12 volt. You get nothing here and nothing here. So one of them is the light, which will only be showing ground or 12 volt or whatever if the system is active. So when I had this whole thing plugged in, exposed, and turn around, I didn't see the activation light. But what I persistently didn't see anywhere on these is the minus. So the pluses are here, but the minus is not. And that got me thinking, maybe there is no ground connector. And that's when I decided, why don't I just short circuit one of the connections? And what I did was I checked which one was the light by going to the button and just tracing the wire to the button. So I found which one was the light, and obviously the other one was the ground, which did not exist. So with a bit of luck, biting the lip, I've shorted this connector, which is supposed to be ground, to the ground, and suddenly the system worked. Yep, no ground. So with the car moving the steering wheel for over 200,000 miles, the ground got broken. Let's reassemble the system and see that it actually works. I'll put it on a pause because I don't have extra hands. I put the cover back onto the exposed connectors, put the switch back in place, switch back in place. All right. And now I'll be putting my controller, and I'll be putting in the original controller that was in this car because there's nothing wrong with it. And I'll keep the other one just in case. How do you like my pants? Honey, where are my pants? Okay. All right, so this is the ground, and I'm going to reconnect my controller. And before I screw everything back in, I'll show you that it works. All right, so I got the thing plugged in. I got everything where it's supposed to be. Let's turn the car on. And you can see that nothing's happening, although it should be on at this point. Now let's do some magic. So we're going to take our negative, connect it. Now I need a third hand, but let's see. And ta-da! It works. And it actually gets warm. So if I disconnect it right now, you'll see the light go out. Boom. So all it is that negative somehow got lost in there. Let's put it this way. All right. So all I have to do right now is this screw here, or this screw. They actually go into the metal. Now, why didn't Toyota do this? Because this is all metal, and the steering wheel and the column and all this thing are connected to the negative of the frame. Why didn't they just ground and instead of using the coil? Unfortunately, you cannot rely on it 100%. Because of the bearings, because of the oils, because of the moving parts, there is no guarantee that the steering wheel is connected to the car 100% all the time. And this is the reason why they're sending the negative through the coils wiring as opposed to just connecting. Now, I'm not about to take the steering wheel apart. That will require some serious resetment of the, this is electronically controlled steering. There is yaw sensors in there. There's all kinds of calibration that needs to be done if you take this nut out and pull the steering wheel off. Plus, I don't have the puller. And I'm not really looking for a big job. So what will happen is as you turn the heater of the steering wheel on and you drive the car, as you turn the wheel, there will be intermittent issues. I don't know, but I'm assuming where there'll be momentarily loss of the negative, because this is not guaranteed to carry a negative, and in that loss, the system will reset itself and turn off. It's a problem I'm willing to live with, provided I don't have to do that. Possibly there is another negative in one of these wires. I'm just not willing to look for it at this point. If once I put it all together, it works like crap, where it disconnects all the time and loses the negative, I will then find one in these and just connect to it. Now, these draw a lot of power, so hopping onto one of those could possibly damage the coil and cause a fire. So because of that, I'm just gonna tap into the metal on the wheel. So let me do that. I got the wire connected to this bolt that's connected to the frame of the, of the steering wheel. That's connected to the center carrier. That's connected to everything and the body including. Let's check to make sure that it works. So we'll turn it on and push our button, and the light means the system is active. I did put the screws in to hold it in place, and I'll wait for it to get warm. It does take a little bit for it to get warm. Yep, it's getting warm already. I can feel it. Yep, nice and warm. All right, let's turn it off and put the covers back on and the airbag back on. And this job, let's make sure that my wire is not interfering. There is one thing that happens as you wiggle this back in place, it will beep. So we don't want it beeping. Let's see. All right, I gotta use two hands here. Oh, I got it in. All right, let's get the other side. I had all this equipment here to show you how I was doing tracing of the wires, but I don't have any help for anybody to hold the camera in place and record it for me, so hence you don't get to see my detecting abilities. Come on. Okay, tight. And this tight. Covers. Plug. Now this one's a little more fun. Let's see, how does this go? Clip. And I believe we're done. Thank you for watching. This was a long video, but you can, fast forward through the parts, and I will try and attach the schematics. Give me a like if you like my video, subscribe, leave comments down below, ask questions, and I hope if you have a similar problem, you can solve it with a piece of wire. Instead of throwing money and parts at it, taking this to a dealer would have cost probably $600-700, and I'm being conservative here because they would not do this. they would be replacing the coil. The coil costs more than money itself. It is a complicated component. Like I said, it's got the yaw sensor, it's got the steering wheel position sensor, steering angle sensor. It's like that's one of the most complicated parts I've seen in these things. And the other way, the proper way to repair it, if I was doing, you know, the hardcore repair, I would pull the steering wheel, I would pull that part out, and I would resolder that connector unless it was completely broken or burned out. But before we go, let's do the final test. Because these things tend to not work when let me put it all back together. I was repairing a computer, and I checked the size of